What up? This is Alan Kaleo Kika Alexander, and this is my official endorsement for Dr. Ron Paul for president in 2012. Now, this message isn't so much for the people who also endorse Ron Paul. You know what I mean? It's not so much for you guys. But, I mean, and I know there's a lot of you out there because I've gotten a lot of comments on the last couple of videos I posted, and it was all positive, man, and that's what it's about, you know what I mean? Like, we all have to, we got to come together, and there's no better message to come together under than freedom and liberty, you know? And it's my hopes that this message reaches your ears, Dr. Paul, because, you know, I don't have a lot of money to lobby my representatives to endorse your message. I don't have too much influence in the community, you know. I'm just an ordinary guy, you know. I'm a father of one. I'm deeply concerned about the state of the union as I see it today. I see the daily subversions of the citizens' rights, not just from the police officers across the nation, but also from the judges sitting on the panels of the Supreme Courts, such as that in India, or not India, but Indiana, who are basically laying the groundwork to do away with the Fourth Amendment. I see the battle that's being waged down in Austin, Texas, with the TSA and their arrogance, citing the supremacy clause in the Constitution to subvert the 9th and 10th Amendments. And you know what? I mean, there's nothing more I can offer than what I have, and it's not a lot. But in a similar way that our founding fathers pledged their wealth, pledged their loyalty, and pledged their honor, I make those same pledges to you, Dr. Paul. And hear me when I say to you, so long as you're willing to fight, you won't be alone. Because there's millions more like me who would lay down their lives for your cause. Because if there is any cause in our history worth dying for, it is the cause of freedom and liberty. And I got a son, Dr. Paul. He's gonna be 2 in September, and I'll be damned if that boy is not gonna live in a free country. And if it means I have to go out of my way to campaign for you, get creative and make some signs, educate the public around me on the issues that really matter, then that's what I'm going to do. And it's not so much just for you, you know, it's for my son. It's for me. It's for everybody I love, you know. Even those who don't support you. Even those who haven't come around to your philosophy and your defense of liberty across the board. It's for them, whether they know it or not. And whether they're going to appreciate it, it doesn't matter, because it needs to be done. And what you have to say needs to be heard, but most importantly, it needs to be said, you know? And you've been saying it for 20 plus years. You've come a long way from standing on the hill alone, preaching your message of freedom and liberty, preaching your message of the principles this country was founded on. And you were laughed at, and you were ridiculed. You're still ridiculed to this day to a certain extent, but nowhere near as much as you were ridiculed before, you know. And I see that in you, for you to be persistent and determined to secure my rights and my freedoms, to the point where you're putting yourself in danger. personally, to stand up and spread this message. There aren't too many heroes in today's society that can stand on the platform that you're standing on. I mean, we have quote unquote heroes like sports figures, movie stars and celebrities that we consider heroes that really don't even deserve the title. There's nobody more deserving of the title of hero than you, Dr. Paul. Because you stood up in a time where it wasn't too convenient to do so. When it wasn't for political games or just to try to get votes, you know? For people who would say that you're only saying this so you can get the votes, I would say look back in your history. Look back 20-something years when you were preaching this very same message, word for word, and you weren't running for presidency, you know? This is how you felt, and this is how you've seen the country going. And I have to say, there was nobody dissecting the issues the way you dissected them over the last 20 plus years. And I just want to say, as a man, a normal, ordinary guy, there's nobody better for this country than you, Dr. Paul. And so long as you're willing to fight, and so long as you're willing to stand up and speak out, you'll have millions more like me who will be willing to stand by your side in the defense of liberty, in the defense of freedom, across the board. Because the day we lose our liberties and the day we lose our freedoms, it will only be a moment's notice before we're back to the days of kings and queens and despots and serfs and, yes, slaves. The media trying to portray you as a racist, I see them trying to make this out to the black community to be that you're endorsing slavery, and if you were ever elected president, you would bring back slavery and this and that. But I don't buy into the games, Dr. Paul. We're smarter than that. It's too late for the establishment to stop what's going on. This is a revolution. This is a philosophical revolution. It's a revolution of the mind. Because whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Italian, Chinese, Japanese, if you're in America and you've been listening to the message that you've been given, you recognize that it's not about racial slavery. We're facing a new monster, a new type of slavery, an upgraded version of the plantation. And the way the media is playing towards the black people's fears of their past and being slaves for 450 years, they're keeping them in a perpetual fight with the past. They're keeping them focused on the downside of democracy that flourished throughout the South, without keeping them looking forward to the slavery that's coming, to the money masters who are cracking the whips, not the white masters on the plantation. We're far from those days. And for all you black people who would love to invoke the days of slavery and racial segregation and use it against Dr. Paul, I have one message for you. Shame on you, because you were not there. You were never a slave, and you never served on a plantation. You never called anybody master. And for you to be so closed-minded and outright dumb to buy into this racial game that the media is playing against Dr. Paul, if he does not win the presidency, whoever takes his place, they're going to bring more tyranny, and you're going to get what you deserve. The facts of the matter is, every generation has to fight this fight. The last generation before mine, they didn't do so well, because I see where we're at today. And throughout the past couple decades, it was a slow, incremental intrusion on the rights of men and women.